What if I told you Hearthstone is getting a brand new class at the end of this year? World of Warcraft just announced that there is a brand new expansion coming to the game called Dragonflight. And in this expansion, they are introducing a brand new class, which is the Dragonflight Evoker. Now, if you don't know what the Dragonflight Evoker is, don't worry, I didn't know either. I had to do a ton of research, but basically they are dragons. The specialization of the Evoker class is that they're either a mid-range fighter with fiery breath attacks and claws, or they draw upon life-giving magic of renewal to bolster their allies. It is important to note that there are 5 major Dragonflights for this brand new expansion, all of them covering an aspect. Now, we've seen all 5 aspects in Hearthstone: Alexstrasza, Nozdormu, Ysera, Malygos, and Deathwing. Now, it's pretty awesome that World of Warcraft is getting a brand new class, but you're probably asking yourself, what does this mean for Hearthstone? Every single year for Hearthstone, Blizzard does teases for the upcoming expansions of that year. Last year, for the Year of the Griffin, we had 3 gems, one to represent Forged in the Barrens, one to represent United in Stormwind, and one to represent Alterac Valley. And the gem teasers are not just a one-off thing. They did it the previous year for the Year of the Phoenix, and the list goes on and on. But the main reason they do this is to kind of just tease brand new expansions. And what does the community do? They try to guess what expansions are coming, and we did a pretty good job last year. When the Year of the Griffin teaser was released, we had a thread on Reddit where people were theorizing what the new expansion was going to be, and literally the second comment in, Alterac Valley as an expression of Horde versus Alliance battleground. And the expansion was literally just that, a Horde versus Alliance battleground in Alterac Valley. But this year, we didn't get those teasers. So if you think about it, Blizzard not showing us the gems of this year means that they're kind of hiding something, but that doesn't mean a whole lot until you look at what one of the lead designers of the game said. Ixar, who is one of the main designers when it comes to Hearthstone, does a semi-regular AMA where people from the community are allowed to ask questions about Hearthstone. I unfortunately could not figure out why they didn't want to do the teasers for the expansions in the Year of the Hydra, but Ixar did say something really interesting. He did say that we should expect a larger than normal expansion for the last set of next year, and now it's the next year, the Year of the Hydra, so we should be expecting a larger expansion this year. So normally when we got an expansion, we got 132 new cards. With the addition of Demon Hunter, we ended up getting 135 new cards from an expansion. And basically what they did is they just replaced some of the neutrals, put some Demon Hunter class cards in there, and bada bing, bada boom, 135 cards. But they have consistently added 135 cards with every new expansion with Demon Hunter. So it feels a little bit weird that they said they're going to give a bigger expansion than usual. That probably means that we're going to be introduced into a new thing that we have not seen before. And this would actually explain why they're not showing the teaser gems for the expansions of this year. If the expansion gems are too easy to solve and someone figures out where we're going for the last expansion, it might just completely give away that we're getting a brand new class. It is also important to note that Ixar did say that none of the expansions are related to each other, so even though we went to a voyage into the Sunken City for the very first expansion, the last expansion is not related to that at all. I also want to point out that in the core set, they brought back Reno Jackson, and if you don't know how significant this is, we're going to get to this later in the video, but this is a huge reason for my theory. So here is my theory for the Year of the Hydra. The fact that we did not get the expansion gem teaser is already super weird. They have done that consistently for years, and Ixar going on record and saying that we're going to have a larger than a normal expansion for the last one of the year makes me think that they're all building up to a brand new class, because the only way that we can have a larger than normal expansion is that if they're going to add a new class, which they need to add new cards in for. Now you could be like, oh, what if they're just adding more cards than normal? But that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because they're already doing mini sets. I don't think they want to make expansions larger. It seems like it's going to be something bigger than that. Now, Reno Jackson to this theory is very important. For those of you who don't know, Reno Jackson was introduced a long time ago, but during the Year of the Dragon, which I believe was 2019, he was actually confirmed to be a real dragon. And this is something that people have theorized for a long time in Hearthstone, and they actually confirmed it in the game. Now, I did a whole video on this. I would highly recommend you go watch it if you're interested. It's really cool what the developers ended up doing. The theory states that from this image, you could see Reno Jackson, a Murloc, a cow, and the curator about to jump into a hot tub. Now, this looks like it's absolutely nothing, just a fun little scene in a Hearthstone trailer until you realize what the curator actually does as a card. But don't you find it a little bit weird that they introduced Reno Jackson and the rest of the League of Explorers during a year that they introduced a brand new dragon class into World of Warcraft, and and there's supposed to be a bigger than normal expansion for the last set of this year. Seems a little interesting, doesn't it? Well, it's a little bit more than interesting because with the Dragonflight expansion for World of Warcraft, we see the re-emergence of Dragon Isles at the behest of the Alliance. The Explorers League worked alongside the Reliquary to study the newly discovered islands. And you know who's in the Explorers League? Reno Jackson, Brand Brawnbeard, Elise Starseeker, and Sir Finley Murgleton. And because the Explorers League are going to the Dragon Isles in the World of Warcraft new expansion, that means Reno Ghost, the name for Reno Jackson as a dragon, will be canon in Warcraft lore. But it would also make total sense for the last expansion of the year that Reno Jackson and the rest of the League of Explorers discover a brand new dragon class. When Demon Hunter came out, that was released with Ashes of Outlands. With this expansion, it could just be the Dragon Isles. Now, it is important to note that every single year for Hearthstone, they do a roadmap. So we have the Year of the Hydra roadmap. And you may notice that in phase 2 and in phase 3, something is locked. And that would make total sense if they're releasing a brand new class. When Demon Hunter was released, it had its prologue first and then was enabled in a new expansion. This could be the exact same thing. In phase 2, we get the prologue for the new dragon class, and then in phase 3, we get to play it. Now, if there is a brand new class coming, it would make total sense that the class is already designed, the class is already kind of balanced, and they already have a good idea of what the first couple of sets of the new class is going to be. To tie this theory all together, another designer for Hearthstone, Matt London, also tweeted, so what's in the Evoker class identity for Hearthstone? Seems like a very subtle way for them to slowly ask for ideas for their new class. It would also make sense to add a class like this into Hearthstone. When we got Demon Hunter was extremely aggressive and we saw how much damage it could do. It would make sense to balance that out with a new class that's on the mid-range / more control side of things. It is also important to note that they kept all 5 dragon aspects in the core set, even though they don't really see play whatsoever. It would make sense keeping them in the core set if they are leading up to a dragon final expansion of this year. My final point to this theory and why I think it's so plausible that at the end of the year we're going to get a brand new Hearthstone class that is dragon themed is that people who play Hearthstone love dragons. When Kazakhstan was released earlier this year, it was the most hyped a lot of Hearthstone players got in a very long time. As much as I think people would get excited for Monk or Death Knight as a brand new class to Hearthstone, I'm pretty confident to say that if a dragon class was released for Hearthstone, people would go crazy. Old players would come back, new players would enter the game, and this is something Hearthstone needs to do to keep itself surviving for years to come. It just makes perfect sense. Anyways, that's just the theory, a Hearthstone theory. Thank you so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying this, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.